I feel like the dysfunctional Brady bunch. I mean,
That's pretty much what the team has become.
Like, what the fuck? Like, what's a good analogy of this team and what it's become? The Brady bunch is probably, they all kind of work together somewhat. What is a dysfunctional family? It's a good show for dysfunctional family. Sanford and Son?
That's old. I was trying to think of something current.
Free current, man. Whatever it is. Where's the other one I was thinking of? Hey, it's like Married with Children.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, that's a good. All right, let's do this shit. In 3, 2, 1. Blah. Just kidding. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Philly Fan Radio. I'm John Myer, along with Dan Palmieri. And there have been 2 recent announcements that happened. And in fact, I'm so confused on the second one. But let's get to the first one and talk about it. The Eagles have hired OC Sean Mannion, right, from the Packers. He was the QB coach. First of all, yes, like every single one of you out there, I had to Google who the fuck he is. I don't even know, like, what the heck? He wasn't even on the sheet to be interviewed. Dan, initial reaction.
Is there an initial reaction? I mean,
dude, your face says it all. I have to tell you, you're just like, you don't seem too excited about this decision and the route the Eagles just have went.
Well, I wasn't really excited with any of the candidates they were bringing in, to be honest with you. I mean, there weren't any sexy candidates coming in here. I mean, Brian Dable,
besides Jim Bob Cooter, right?
Well,
he was like that.
He was the hottest, of course.
I think his name was just about it.
There just wasn't really anybody, and it's just, this hiring is so disappointing. I understand. So let's say, he could be a great coach. We have no idea, okay? But we were sold on the fact that they were getting a head start on this thing because they wanted experience. We wanted the ability to make an in-game adjustment. We wanted somebody that could take the reins and run with it. Well, this hiring does the exact opposite of that because it is a guy that's never called plays. Hell, he wasn't even an offensive coordinator that didn't call plays. He was a quarterback coach, okay? So I don't know what to think about the guy. The only thing that I can say, honestly, is that not one other team brought him in for an interview. And that is an indictment right there. And you know what? Everyone online I could see is saying, it's going back to the whole trust the process bullshit, Have they earned our trust? And I'm going to say this. No. Howie, Jeffrey, and Nick have not earned our trust as fans to be able to go in there blindly and not question this because, simply put, they do not have the greatest track record. Okay? They don't. Steichen was brought over with Sirianni from his staff in the Colts, okay? So there's that. Kellen Moore was a top head coaching candidate at the time, but he wasn't getting it in that cycle, so they got him. They did get lucky. It was a good hire. But every time they've went with a younger, unproven commodity, Brian Johnson, Kevin Patullo, they haven't had success with it. And if I swear to God, if I see one more person clap back at me and say, oh, well, we picked an old quarterbacks coach from Green Bay one time, and that worked out pretty well. That was Andy friggin' Reid back in 1999, people. Put your big boy pants on. The game has changed. We are not handing over the keys to I don't even know what the hell their record was, but they were coming off Ray Rhodes, okay? They weren't good. This is a team that is ready for the Super Bowl now, and you're going to hand the keys over on the offense to a guy who's unproven, who has no experience. And I'm just not in the whole let's let it play out and build for the future type of deal when I know that I watch these playoffs and watch the NFC teams and AFC teams, and I said to myself, my God, if we had a middle-of-the-pack offense, we might be in the Super Bowl right now. And it's malpractice by the Eagles to let that not happen. So,
hell of a rant there. First of all, I agree with you. Everything. When we got rid of KP, it was very shortly after the, once and done in the playoff thing. And you thought, oh, right, man, they've got a head start on a great offensive coordinator going into it. I'm not sure they said they wanted a proven play caller, but I think everybody out there was like, listen, we need somebody who's called plays before. We need somebody who has been proven. We need somebody in there that's going to do in-game adjustments, that's going to bring out some cool stuff into the team. And then they go and hire. First of all, we didn't even know. Did they had a first interview with this guy? I mean, like, when was this even reported?
It was like a virtual interview, and then they brought in a bunch of people yesterday for second interviews. They brought in Gizzard, they brought in Mannion, and they brought in the guy from the Texans, the quarterback's coach from the Texans. I don't know.
But why are we bringing in unproven people? First of all, he's a quarterback coach, right? So what play has he really called? Where has he been? And I understand there are so many people out there in the league that are like, oh, man, he's a future head coach, blah, blah, blah. The guy's only been coaching 2 years. In fact, he's eligible to return to the NFL and be a quarterback.
2 years. I mean, he was playing in the league in 2023. I mean, I don't think
I've like 6 starts. 6.
Yeah,
right?
And I don't recall like ever seeing a coach rise so high, like so fast. I mean, I was reading something that says Sirianni was a coach for 16 years before he got a head coaching gig. Now, take that for what it is, but I mean, there's certain things in the NFL that you need to experience, and the only way to get that experience is through time, okay? And you didn't get that experience being a backup to somebody in LA, okay? Or no, it was St. Louis at the time, I think. He was actually Nick Foles' backup. That's as crazy as the situation has gotten. He was a Vikings backup. I can't remember. You know what? I don't even give a shit who he was backing up. He was a goddamn player in the NFL, and he's been coaching for 2 years.
2 years ago, he was a player in the NFL, or 2.5, 3, however you want to do it. Ridiculous.
Offensive assistant in 2024, which who the hell knows what that is? That could be you were bringing water to the offensive staff. Then he was a quarterback's coach to, Jordan Love, who, I'm sorry, I've never been sold on Jordan Love, okay? I don't think Jordan Love is that good. I think he's Jalen Hurts without a ring. Okay, I'll say that. He's Jalen Hurts without actual postseason success. So I don't think he's that great. So I can't look at Mannion and say, wow, he's this quarterback whisperer. Look what he did to Jordan Love. He made Malik Willis into a competent backup who came in and played some good snaps. I mean, but we're going to give him a starting job in the toughest market possible, which is why this introductory press conference is going to be must-watch TV, because the first thing out of the Philadelphia media's mouth is going to be, hey, how you doing, Sean Mannion? What the fuck have you done for us?
What play have you actually called? And I'm not talking ordering Starbucks. I'm talking actually a game-changing play. And I'll tell you what, first of all, this entire offseason and season is going to be under a microscope. If by week 3 there is some stupid-ass shit of continuous vanilla play calling, 4 plays, up the middle, AJ punt, there's going to be some issues. And you think that KP had it bad, I think you're going to have it 10 times worse, because the Eagles fans are going to be really at their edge.
You're being very nice and allowing us to give him 3 games. I'm going to say 1 goddamn series. If he goes 3 and out on the opening week of the first game, booed. My God, he's going to be booed, and then he's going to need like a Pop-Tart out there because he's only 33 years old. So there you go. Little age discrepancy for you. But he's going to need a juice box, and he's going to have to go sit down because he's just it's a different atmosphere here. It's not like the Clevelands. It's not like the Tennessees where you can go and you can learn on the job. This is not a let's get them next year market. This is the time is now, and we can't be fucking around. We can't be just allowing this learning on the job crap. And I just don't, there's been nothing thus far that has shown me any confidence in the Eagles' ability to pick a coaching staff. There isn't. And it just begs the question, I see some reports, I see most reports saying that he will call plays. Okay, so that was going to be my question when I came on this, was going to be, he hasn't called plays before. Does that mean Sirianni's going to call plays? Okay, but here's my problem. You don't have an experienced play caller in the room now. So when the play calls are coming in and Nick's sitting back there, what do you think Nick's going to do? He's going to be like, I called plays before. I think you should run this. And I basically wanted the door to the offensive meetings being locked and Sirianni just being outside of it, knocking and saying, please let me in. And that's not going to happen now. He's going to oversee everything again, and we're going to have that whole continuation of Sirianni wanting to get involved in a little bit too much. So the whole press conference that they had where they were saying, full autonomy, they're going to have full autonomy on the offense. No, that's not going to I can't foresee it happening in this situation, not with the hire they made.
Dan, that was actually going to be my question. The concern of having Sirianni now having his hands back into the play calling when we all knew he sucked the year that he was calling it, and then he demoted himself and said he's bad at it. And then this past year, he's like, listen, KP, we're going to promote you within. You're going to be the OC. I've got your back. And then he's like, I'll take over some of the play calling. Yet we all saw it. One good series out of KP or the team, and then that was it. It was like, okay, the defense have already changed their thing. They know what's going to be coming down the line. And KP, we're just going to run it just because we said we're running it. And it doesn't matter what defense shows us because we're going to run it no matter how much. We are running it just to run it. The concern, Dan, there is exactly what you said, that Nick Sirianni is going to have his hands in the play calling once again. But we're going to put it all on the new guy's head, okay, that the decision, and I'm very concerned with Howie and Jeffrey's decision here to hire an inexperienced play caller.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that I thought in this offseason that could have saved A.J. Brown staying with the team was that they were going to get an experienced play caller to come in here with a good track record that could go to AJ and say, listen, I'm going to get you the ball. I ran this offensive system in wherever, and, we had this number one wide receiver or whatever. Somebody that had a proven track record that could say, I know how to get you the ball. Well, we've got a guy that's never ran plays, barely been in an offensive system, so there's no way in hell that he holds any clout in that locker room to say, I know what I'm doing. This is what we're going to run. I mean, there's going to be so much second guessing. I mean, in an NFL locker room, you have to earn respect. You have to come in with that bravado, I guess you could say. That's why Fangio came in and just was able to take this defense on seamlessly because he had that track record. He has that experience. He has that clout, I guess you could say, to where he'll come in a room and say, we're doing it this way, and if you don't like it, get the hell out. Well, Sean Mannion's not going to be able to come in the room and say, we're going to do it this way, and if you don't like it, get the hell out, because he basically has never done it. The Eagles have opened themselves up to a whole big issue with this hiring, and I really hope it does work out. But it's a stab in the dark, and this is not a franchise that you can afford to take this stab in the dark. I
really hope we eat our words. I really hope.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right now. I hope that come let's just say preseason. Preseason's always those, like, the first game's the only game that really matters. I hope it comes out there and all of a sudden they look phenomenal. I hope game one, it is the whole entire game, the offense looks great. And I do. I hope we are completely wrong. But the concerning is that there is no experienced play caller. And then the other flip side of that is the Eagles just hired a fired OC that they interviewed for the OC position. Josh Gizzard, whatever you want to call him, is now the passing coach, right?
Passing game coordinator?
Or game coordinator. I don't even know what, like, we're going to pass the ball. Wait, isn't that the OC's job? Now, Josh does have experience play calling, right?
Yeah, he did the play calling for Tampa for 2 years, I believe.
So is this a backup in case he doesn't work, or is this one of their behind the scenes? Listen, Josh, we want you to help Sean out and get him where he is. And when a head coaching position comes up, we'll put your name in it for next year. This is your time to redeem yourself. Or if Josh doesn't work out, please help. It's like, the guy, you ever see this movie, Dan, I'm going to date myself here. It was with Michael Keaton. It's called Multiplicity, right? Where he goes in and he multiplies himself multiple times. He's going to go back there and he's like, hey, Josh, what do I do here? He did this. Defense is on this. Like, what the hell is going to go on? Is he going to ask him for every single play, and now we're getting up to the line with 5 seconds to go?
And it's not like you said, Gizzard, whatever, he was fired.
It's Gizzard, right?
It's Gizzard.
Gizzard.
He was fired from Tampa Bay. And when you think of the Tampa Bay Bucks, you don't think of, oh, wow, that was a stellar offense. You think of defense. You think of Todd Bowles' defense. So it's not like you're getting a guy that's been established. I mean, and he's another young guy. He hasn't been coaching for that long. So it's not like, I don't know, you just, it is a good, okay, it's not a bad hire. It is a good insurance policy. But let's say that Mannion starts to struggle and then they sit at the podium and say, okay, Josh is going to take over play calling. Do you feel any more excited about Josh taking over play calling?
We just went back. I feel like first of all, it's great. We're taking over the play calling. That means Howie and Jeffrey, they all made a piss poor decision once again, instead of going with the proven guy, which he had all this time. Now, I know there's so much speculation that all these names in the hat withdrew their names. Here's where I feel it's much better for a candidate to just throw his name in the ring and then withdraw it versus them saying, no, we're not taking it, because he looks a little bit better. But interviewing all these no-namers, we have no clue. I mean, Dan and I had to search Google for half of these people coming up. I mean, the only one we didn't was McDaniels, Dable, and I did have to search Jim Bob Cooter, even though I heard of him before. But anyway, it's just... No, I don't feel better if they have to make a change in week 3.
Yeah, and the thing with the previous OCs were that they were winning we both admitted it. They were basing their wins on talent, okay? They weren't going out there and they weren't executing plays that were creative and all this other stuff. They were winning based on the ability for our superstars to beat your superstars. Talent
versus talent.
Yeah, and that might not be the case this year, okay? You're not going to have... Well, okay, I'm not going to say not. You might not have a Dallas Goedert out there. He is a free agent. He's probably going to demand a lot of money. I don't know if they're going to pay that to an aging tight end. I think I would, maybe for a short-term contract, but who knows? A.J. Brown, I have no insight knowledge. I have no idea what's going to happen with that, but I'm personally going to put it at 80% that the guy doesn't play for the Eagles next year. I understand the contractual stuff that goes along with that. I understand that's probably going to be a post-June thing. Well, it's almost guaranteed to be a post-June 1st thing because of all the stuff that goes in there financially. But I don't see A.J. Brown coming back to this team unless he has some kind of mental epiphany and realizes that he fucked up and he needs to stop. And I don't see him as a mature enough adult to do that. So
I would have saw him coming back if a valid or high caliber OC showed up and AJ was thrilled to have him.
Yeah, aka Brian Dable, I think would have maybe reinvigorated that.
His energy.
Yeah, and and it's a guy that would have came in there with the clout and it would have been able to demand more. But I mean, you're not going to have that stellar offense you might not have. I mean, we still don't know, is Lane Johnson going to retire? Is he not going to retire? So if he retires, there goes your best offensive lineman of probably the past decade. So you don't have that. You had an underperforming offensive line. You have a quarterback who I still think is pretty damn good, but to put him on an elite level, he's not. He needs good players around him, and he needs a good system to maximize his abilities. And, you know, with a new play caller, and especially an unproven guy, I just have these feelings like when you can remember what happened when they went to Seattle the one year, and he threw the deep bomb to AJ, and it was intercepted to end the game. And they basically said that they ran that play on their own. You know, is that going to happen here because they don't have an established play caller? Are they going to, is Jalen just going to say, I'm going to call whatever the fuck I want because I'm the superstar, I'm the face of the franchise? I don't want that. That can only cause problems. And I just don't know. I just don't know if they're going to have the talent on offense to make up for any deficiencies that might happen in play calling. I don't think so this year. I don't.
It's too concerning to have an unproven play caller. I don't care if, Matt LaFleur came out and said, man, this guy is totally awesome, you should take him, because that's bullshit selling. And first of all, not even hearing that they interviewed the guy and then all of a sudden they brought him in second and offered him the role. What is it that Howie and Jeffrey know that we don't know about a guy who hasn't called plays? Think about it. KP never called plays. In fact, wasn't even in a position. Just because he was the quarterback coach doesn't mean that he's had any hand in understanding it. Great. He'll be great with Jalen. He'll be awesome with him. But will he actually have a play calling and aggressive style nature? Dan, here's the funny, and it's kind of an oxymoron on this stat that I saw come across my screen, and I threw it in our document, and I was like, man, the Eagles were number one on hitch routes, right? 600 plus for the entire year. I'll let Dan explain what a hitch route is shortly. There's a bunch of them that all look the freaking same half the time. And then the Packers were 31st in hitch routes with 300 plus. But Sean didn't call the plays. So this stat is technically meaningless. Dan, explain to our audience what a hitch route is. And we've seen it plenty of times. It's you'll be like, oh, that call.
A hitch route is probably the unsexiest route that you can call, which is, they call it a comeback route. They call it a curl route. Basically, you're running out there for whatever amount. Usually with us, it was probably you're going to run out 12 yards, and it's a comeback route. That's all it is. It allows the DBs to jump the play. It was just basically the lack of mesh routes. No crossing patterns, no picking. It was one-on-one. Our guy is better than your guy. You're not scheming the guy open. You're not doing anything other than basically saying, go to a spot, come back, and we'll try to hit you, which is not Jalen's strength, because Jalen is not a timing thrower. He doesn't have a big arm, so that was a huge problem. Maybe this guy will run more slants. Maybe he'll run more mesh routes, which is great. It's great. But I question that game happening where, okay, they're going 3 and out, and maybe they pick it up, but then he goes against a Vic Fangio type, where in the second half, where they were blitzing in the first half, they're going completely zone in the second half, and Mannion's on the sideline saying, how do I adjust for this? I'm just going to run it, KP. So, I don't know. I wanted answers, okay? It's not even the Super Bowl, and I'm feeling disheartened about this upcoming season. It's just, I wanted answers. I wanted some clarity. I wanted some reassurance that the crap that we saw this past year wasn't going to rear its ugly head again, and I've gotten just the opposite. I've gotten more questions now. You know, if you didn't want experience, if you didn't hold experience that high in your regards, then why didn't you just keep KP?
Oh, ouch, man. That's definitely. Dan's being a little generous with a hitch route. The comeback route is definitely 12 yards and come back. A hitch route is against soft coverage. So imagine a Dory Jackson or Ringo out there, okay, and in their whole, 10 yards, 15 yards off, okay? So the receiver goes out and comes back. We all saw this every single game. We all saw this when it was 3rd and 15 when we didn't run Saquon. They would go out 5 or 6, turn around, and be standing on the line of scrimmage. And we'd all be like, why? Why did we throw that? That is a hitch route. It's the worst freaking one that you want to get if you need a lot of yards, if you need a short yardage, if we had a great run team or run game, and the offensive line was there, we wouldn't have to worry about that. Or they're blocking their stuff in the center, then you do a little hitch route. But in those cases, if you mixed a hitch route with a little receiver blocking, AJ, something like that, it could turn into some good yardage with Saquon out there, some pushing instead of using Devontae, which, we don't want the twig getting hurt or anything like that. And he's so awesome on the team. But okay, great. We're not going to do hitch routes or as many. Did he really do them in Green Bay, or was it somebody,
And that's exactly the point, is that everybody's pointing to these offensive statistics that Green Bay did. Green Bay didn't run these hitch routes. Green Bay had this ranked offense. How involved was Sean Mannion, the quarterback coach, in actually making that possible? The offensive coordinator for Green Bay did not even call the plays. So you had Matt LaFleur calling plays, which means that the OC didn't call plays, which definitely meant that the quarterback coach didn't call plays. So he was third in the line of succession to actually get a play in or whatever. So
they didn't even have the headset in to know what play was being called and to understand it probably. Like, he's like, hey, I'm just a QB coach. Hit the button when it comes my time.
He had the tablet.
He had the tablet, and he didn't even call the plays into it. So my concern this year is, once again, we always get our plays out with like 12 seconds to the line of scrimmage. There is no reading the defense. There's no changes. Not that we would have any anyway, because we didn't do any in-game adjustments or checks down at the line. Now we got 5 seconds. We're the slowest team out there. How much is Nick Sirianni going to have a hand in some of these play calling early on, and is going to really upset the fan base that they're going to be down at the NovaCare? So.
Yeah, and you brought up a great point that I thought was really lost on this season. And that was, in 2024, we all praised the fact that Jalen Hurts looked like he took the next step, because with the absence of Kelsey, he was making the line adjustments. He was calling audibles. They were getting to the line, and he was able to read the defense better and make these blocking adjustments, hot routes, all this stuff. But this past year, with an inexperienced play caller, we did see they were breaking the huddle at 12 seconds and getting over the ball, and that's just not enough time to make any adjustments. So they were calling the play damned if the coverage was zone, man, blitz. Doesn't matter.
We're gonna run. We're doing it.
Yeah, we're gonna run if we're gonna run. But so with an experienced play caller, there comes that more decisiveness to get the play in early. And again, this could be a problem. This could very well turn out to be you're getting the play in with 12 seconds type of deal, and you're not allowing for in-game adjustments. You're not allowing for checks of the line, and you're just hoping that the play you called is beating the defense that they presented, basically.
I really hope Sean is taking this very seriously, right? So we haven't had the press conference yet. And maybe he's pulling out the offensive coaching for dummies book and looking at what to play. Like, okay, here's how the defense does it. And so maybe he's gone to classes. Maybe he's talking to some very. I'm still concerned. We all hope we're wrong, but the decision on this is very perplexing to understand from a team that is high caliber and was built to win the Super Bowl again this year, is built to win next year, and we don't have time to redefine our offense.
Yeah, we just don't have time to allow for learning on the job. And, the last time, and everybody, like I said before, people are pointing towards we should give Howie and them the benefit of the doubt. Well, the last time I heard the whole offensive genius bullshit that they want to sling around, that everybody's saying, oh, well, this guy, Mannion, could be an offensive genius. That was Chip Kelly. And we all know how that worked out. So I don't want to hear.
That's so true.
I don't want to hear the offense. Season. Yeah, I don't want to hear the offensive genius, the innovative play caller, the unknown to the pro ranks type of deal, because that was what
Hurry up offense.
He was. So what did we do? We went with the conservative guy in Doug Peterson, who was basically like the chick that was obtainable. And I'm trying not to get blocked on this, but the chick that was available and willing. So you took her to prom. You took her to prom, she was a sure thing. She got you to where you wanted to go, but then after a while it kind of got stale and you wanted something more exciting. So you went to the Italian with the big mouth, and that's where you stand right now. I probably would have went for somebody a little more conservative. Those could be the most fun.
I am just
and I'm talking about NFL now. Talking about NFL.
I was just envisioning so many freaking movies. Oh my God, American Pie, first of all. Dude, you were a sure thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We're gonna get blocked. We're gonna have to proud for. Are we really talking football now? Or are we talking?
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like there was this laundry list of people that we interviewed, right? And we knew about. If I said 50% of them, that's we knew about 30%. 30, right?
And the 30% we knew of probably are only because we're both such big NFL nerds that we watch every single game.
Okay, so we knew about 30% of them. It's like we started early, and we're picking for Dodgeball. And we decided to go with the one at last that nobody wanted to pick, that nobody knew about, and we're hoping for that diamond in the rough. And yeah, I saw Aladdin last night, so it just kind of popped in my head. What the hell, the newer one, not the little, even hey, whatever.
That doesn't make that statement any more credible, so don't.
Hey, you know what? That was actually a pretty good one with Will Smith. I'll give it on that way. But anyway, it was just so happened to be on. Anyway, this is so weird. This is just, I'm afraid that Sirianni's going to have his hand in all this play calling. Sirianni is going to be changing. So Sirianni, like you said, should be locked the freak out. And in fact, I got to jump to something real quick because I got to do some reckless speculation. Dan, you brought this up in a side conversation for it, right? Let's do some reckless thing and hypothesize. So Adam Schefter proposed and says something that there's some big shit happening about the Eagles next week. This will probably come out today, this weekend, whatever it is. Nick, what if Nick is no longer with the team? What if there's some changes there? Do you really think hiring Sean and his OC that Nick would be pushed out? And we all know that there was some speculation that Vic Fangio were retiring. But Dan, you brought up a really good point of what about Fangio coming in as a head coach? And he's got what do you need Nick for anymore?
I mean, so let's put that in context. We talked about that before this hire, the Sean Mannion hire, and I think
Correct.
the Sean Mannion hire pretty much just threw that in the dirt because
why?
I didn't think that it was possible anyway. Okay, let's face it. They're at the Senior Bowl.
Right. Yeah, but
No,
why? Why is it still not possible? First of all, if I understand Nick's got some credibility because he's been to a couple Super Bowls, won the Super Bowl, all the win-loss record, but he's the head coach that doesn't call plays, doesn't do it. He's the guy that goes and makes sure everybody's happy with coffee and then the flowers are growing nicely.
Well, because first off, you lost the ability to get a jump on the market. You lost on a bunch of candidates. Okay, so you lost on the only person out there that I personally would like, I would like as a head coach would be Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott is still out there. I don't know if he's going to coach again, but I don't know. But you lost out on...
Yeah, but McDermott was defense, right? He was a defensive coordinator for...
He is. Yeah, he is. He's a defensive coach. But
wow.
What I'm saying as a head coach, I don't think that Fangio would take the head coaching role because they lost out on the ability to promote from within when they lost their secondary coach. He went to Dallas to be the new DC. I don't think that you're going to fire Nick after making this hire because the Eagles now with Nick have a built-in scapegoat. I'm telling you right now, if the Eagles don't make it far into the playoffs this upcoming year, Nick is gone. You will not see Nick, the head coach of the 2027 Philadelphia Eagles. There's no way in hell because he needs to prove.
If they don't make postseason, you're saying.
Oh, if they don't make postseason, he's definitely gone. I'm saying if they lose again in the wild card round, he's gone. There's no way. He has to win maybe even more than the wild card round. It all depends on how it looks, optics-wise. Now, I might be wrong. I thought KP was going to be fired after the Raiders game, because... Was
you
it the
thought
Raiders
it was
game?
going to be
the Bears game
during the Bears game for Black Friday.
Yeah.
You were so adamant, and in fact, I was hoping you were going to be right.
Yeah, so I thought that would have been the logical step, but I mean, I don't think he's going to be coaching the team in 2027 if they just don't make it out of the first round because they have him as a scapegoat. Now, I don't think they're going to fire him, okay, this year. I think that
Thanks for prefacing that.
Well, his record, I understand that we all can look back and say he really doesn't do much because I don't think he does. I question him as a leader. After watching these past few years, other than the Super Bowl year, I question him as a leader and steering the ship in the right direction. But he does have one of the best records in the league for his first few years. So there is
because
that.
Of talent versus
who knows? Who knows? I mean, is that not the age-old question, though? I mean, we're kind of seeing it play out right now with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was just denied to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he won the most Super Bowls in history. So
he has 333 wins too.
Yeah, and he was denied first ballot. So basically, that's the age-old adage of everybody thinking that Bill Belichick only really was that good because he had Tom Brady. So is this going to be something we look back on and say, was Sirianni really that good, or did he have elite talent around him that any head coach would have been great with? We don't know, okay? I tend to believe that it might be the latter. It might be the fact that he's got good players. It might be, but I just don't know. There's so many questions. I've never been into an off season where there's been this many questions that honestly, I am so impatient as a person, especially with my football team, and we're not going to get answers until September now. So I don't know what the hell to think, to be honest with you. All I can tell you is that free agency starts in March, and I don't even know what the hell they're going to do. Who knows?
Dan, I'm going to put this out there. I want, and just like Sirianni and KP coming on in their press conferences and giving all their fluff and their like they're just
That's all you're getting.
Answers. I want somebody to come up onto the stand, be emotional. Okay, so this is the Eagles, and you have the toughest fans out there, the most dedicated blue collar fans. I want you to come on to Sean. This is literally what you need to do. Come on there, assert yourself. Be very confident in your decisions and your questions and answers that you provide them. Because the very first thing, first of all, to all you news reporters in that room, if you do not ask this question, I don't care if it's first, second, last, doesn't matter, okay? If you do not ask, why do you think your ability as an OC is going to be valuable to the Eagles when you've never called a play? You come out there and you answer the never called a play and how you're going to actually do that and handle that. But you come confident. You come a little cocky. We're okay with cocky. Don't get me wrong, okay? We want you to come out with emotion. Don't give us that BS. Well, you know what? I'm going to have to go back and look at the tape. I'm going to go have to, don't give us the Nick answer. Give us the Sean answer. Give us your full-fledged thing. And I'll tell you, you got the backing of us to start early. Else, you're going to be thinking. And the other question that you're going to be asked there on that podium is, what do you think of AJ? Is AJ going to be there for you? How are you going to get involved in it? That's going to be another of those questions. We all know that because you have to answer something that Nick hasn't answered for any. KP hasn't answered. Howie, nobody has answered it besides saying that we love AJ and he's on the team, blah, blah, blah. You answer these and you do it with confidence. I think we'll rest a little easy come until September until you prove yourself.
Yeah, you brought up a great point. I would feel 100% better about this situation if he came out in his press conference and they asked him a certain question and he says, listen, I watched the Eagles from last year afar. I noticed these things and I think we need to get back to Eagles football, which is toughness, which is we're going to punch you in the mouth and we're not going to let teams dictate to you. Like you said, if we see a little bit of cockiness and a little confidence, I think that's going to go a long way with us, and it'll go a long way with the players. Because if you got a guy that's up there that's going to be like, "Oh, goody, I'm a head coach. It's going to be exciting. We're going to have fun. It's going to be a great time." No, nobody wants to see that. Okay, nobody wants to see it, and they are going to ask him about AJ, but obviously his answer is probably going to be, "He's a great talent. He's under contract. I can't wait to get in here and work with him."
You know what? He hasn't talked to AJ then. Do you think he's calling every single player and doing that? And you can't cater to a single player, right?
Especially the wide receiver.
The only person you should be catering to is Jalen right now, right? Because you got to play to his ability. I don't want any of that BS. I don't want any of that shit. And if he comes in, and I swear to God, if he comes in and talks about underdog mentality, I'm going to throw a shoe at him because that is old school. And you weren't here when that stuff was prevalent back in 2018, okay? That underdog for that Super Bowl was one of the keys. And to hear this underdog stuff be talked about this past year in the season was not what didn't need it. We didn't need any of that stuff. You need a new slogan. So, Sean, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice from one Eagles fan to a new Eagles fan that you are going to be is thick skin, be creative in your play calling, but come out into this press conference and shut everybody up. Now, I'm dead serious. And this whole listen, just because I haven't called plays before doesn't mean I haven't been involved in the play calling and the scheming of things. Okay, let's see what you can do.
Yeah, and actually sound like you know what you're talking about.
Oh, my God. Dan, if he comes on there and he's talking about routes and shit, and they're like, wait a second, that's a defensive route. Man, we're going to
don't come out with some silly bullshit like you're going to run the ball to run the ball, or we're going to pass the ball to pass the ball. We don't want to hear
AJ. Well, we're going to lose then.
Yeah, we don't want to hear that shit. We want someone that's going to come out there, and even if he says some silly shit, say it with some conviction. and
Yep.
say, we're going to run this route because I fucking feel like running this route. And then we'll sit back
Hell
and we'll
yeah.
be like, damn right we are going to run that route.
Listen, man, we're getting back to the running game. We're going to run it down their things. I don't care if we're going to run it, but we're going to freaking get him, and we're going to shove it down their throat. And if you didn't like the hitch routes this past year, we're going to double down.
We're going to run 1,200 hitch routes.
Please don't, unless you can. Your receivers are going to push off into a thing. Dan, Adam Schefter speculated on some big non-OC news. So we got the OC news out of the way. In fact, we got double the OC news this time because of Josh Gizzard and Sean Mannion. Mannion? Yeah, it's Mannion, right?
Mannion?
Mannion? I don't know. Anyway, Sean, Josh, OCs. Great. Adam Schefter speculated on a thing. And the reckless speculation has begun entirely for next week. We're really, really curious. So, Dan, I'm going to drop a couple of things. First of all, I already mentioned it. One of the speculations, Vic Fangio is going to retire. I'm going to drop all these, and Dan, you can jump on any one of them as soon as I'm done. Vic Fangio, retire. All right. The Eagles are going to be building a dome, right? A dome stadium. Now, Dan and I are season ticket holders. We did get that email that went out on the survey. I think this was this past year or something like that. There was a survey that came out for that. We've all filled that out. Nick
with the architectural renderings, too.
I saw that, too. Yeah, that's pretty good.
They're pretty nice.
I thought they looked pretty good. Okay, Nick getting fired. We talked about this a little bit. This was put down before we hired two OC and an OC backup. We had an OC point two.
OC light.
yeah, OC light. So, Dan, what are your thoughts? Where do you think the news is going to go? Are we even anywhere on par with the news that's supposed to be happening next week? And knowing the way that the Eagles moved for their OC coordinator and waited like almost 3 weeks, we might have to wait even another week for this news, but who knows?
The only thing.
What about a dome? What do you think?
I don't want a dome. I'm a pussy when it comes to the cold. I am. I'll be the first to admit it. But that's part of Philadelphia allure. What I would like, though, is I want one of those semi-enclosures, I guess you call it, where the
like
stands...
the Bills or the Miami.
Yeah.
So those are actually built for soccer style type stadiums where it's semi-open. I do like the SoFi. SoFi is a dome, but it's open all around the O things. But I think that is too much for Philadelphia fans. That'll be too pristine, whatever it is. We're blue collar. We're low class.
We don't need caviar in our suites. None of that. I'll take a greasy cheesesteak and some crab fries.
Yeah, double down on that and a watered down soda. Thank you. But so, Dan, I'm partial to it. I would maybe a semi-dome, right? So it only comes down onto the field because the Eagles field right now is 50-50. They actually have heated pipes that run underneath. It's half turf, half grass. I do like the Eagles field. That's one of the things. But a dome, I think a lot more could happen if we had a dome, a lot more events outside of football, but I don't really give a damn about them. I mean, the Eagles, the link is hosting MLS, so the World Cup is actually happening in 2026. Oh, wait, shit, we're in 2026 this year.
Yeah, if it ever warms up.
Yeah, by the way, let's give some Philadelphia news. We've been in the negatives at night and the single digits to start the morning, and it's not getting above. It is getting above freezing, I think, for 2 days. Other than that, for the next 2 weeks, it's cold as hell and snowy.
Yeah, so if you wanted to be warmed up by some good Eagles news, you went to the wrong place.
You definitely tuned into the wrong station for this. And in fact, we just lucked out of not having a nor'easter hit us this weekend, which would dump a lot more because we still have the snow from the past one. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's, to go along with the stadium, I think that's why I would like it to be semi-open, is I'd like to see those snow games. Those are really exciting as a fan, but for the wimps like me, put the little dome over the stands so that I can not get my hair wet.
Well, that's actually one of the things. So last year, one of the playoff games, it started snowing halfway through, right? It was was it the playoff? No, was it a playoff or was it the home? Yeah, against the Rams, where it was beautiful to start, and then halfway through, it was freezing rain and snowing. We had to drive home in that shit. It was fun. It was exciting. They won. We were all pumped up. Now, if they lost, the snow and weather would suck. So,
I just think it's part of the Philadelphia allure. It's part of being in the NFC East. I mean, forget Dallas. I don't even consider them an NFC East team, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's part of being an East Coast team. It really is. The Northeastern teams. I just don't like the whole dome aspect, you know.
I think like the Bills that they're having.
Well, I'm just saying I don't want a full enclosure. I don't need that. I don't need the whole, you know, all the new stadiums that they seem to be building, other than, I guess, the Bills, are these, you know, full enclosures like in the LA market, Las Vegas market, whatever. So I could go for one of those semi-enclosures. You know, it's gonna be a bit. I mean, I just saw that their lease is up in 2032. So,
Yep.
I mean, but if they're gonna build one, we don't anticipate taking only a year to build anyway. So we're talking out in the distance. But I think it would be pretty cool. I have never liked the fact that Lincoln Financial, for how loud, for how raucous, or how awesome it gets at Lincoln Financial, I've never liked the fact that we are one of the lowest seating capacity stadiums.
67,000.
I don't like that. I mean, you've got other teams out there that can fit 80 to 100,000 fans in their stadiums, and I just keep thinking to myself, wow, imagine if we could get 100,000 Eagle fans in a stadium, how much louder it would be. So I've never liked the seating capacity area, so I'm not on board at all with the whole let's fix the link or let's improve the link, because that was one of the options. You can't really do much more to the link to increase the seating capacity significantly.
What about the rumor of Vic retiring?
All right, I'm going to go out and just say it flat out. This is my take only. If Vic Fangio retires, we are fucked. This season is done. Done. The defense has to carry the offense.
Available. Sean McDermott's available. Head coach, DC all in one, man.
He could be head coach light. Is that what we're getting at now? We need to have a contingency policy for everybody on the coaching staff now?
Oh, my God. You need a backup plan for the backup plan going into it. Yeah. So I don't think Vic is retiring. He's at, like, I want to say at his prime, but he's just, if he does, we're going to have some issues. But I think if he was going to, he would have done it earlier in consideration with the Eagles to allow them to have a fighting chance in searching for somebody.
Agreed. And I think if the franchise were to get an indication from Vic that he was going to retire, I don't think they would have let the secondary coach go. I think his name's Christian Parker, so I apologize.
That is him. And Dallas, you suck because we allowed you to interview ours and you didn't allow us to interview yours. I mean, typical Dallas fashion.
Yeah, and I don't think he would have let him go, so I don't think you're going to see him retire. The news, I mean, there's just so many avenues you could go. It could be something as stupid as to say the Eagles are going to sell off another 1% of the team or whatever. It could be something really dumb and unfootball related, but that's the problem, is that he made this like blanket statement and now everybody's like speculating. We're going from the lows of the low to the highs of the high with our opinions, and nobody really knows. So
now this speculation that happened was before Sean Mannion was selected as the OC. So that stuff, but he did say it was non-OC related. Given the non-OC related is, it provides an interesting aspect because now you get to speculate, just like, and I'm sure Hugh Douglas is out there doing his reckless speculations in the morning. Nick getting fired. No, I think if Nick was going to get fired, they would have done it already. So that's off the table. I do think, and I agree with Dan, that his season or his job is in jeopardy come next season. And if Sean doesn't work, so here's a catch here thing. If Sean doesn't work out, they're going to have their issues on their hands because Nick's going to be in the hot seat, and they're going to get rid of their head coach and offensive coordinator all in the same year. And then you're going to be talking to Vic to stay on and take it over. And you basically reduce your costs because now you don't need a head coach that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, well, that's one way to look at it.
Hey, I'm a little positive. Though Dan and I, before the OC was selected, we were out there, and him and I have been talking nonstop on who is being interviewed, and we're texting him like, who? Hold on, let me Google this guy. and look, I'm like, okay, has he called plays? No, he hasn't called plays, so why are you even talking to him? Are we just doing it? There was all kinds of things out there that the Eagles are a very smart organization, and they are. And they're doing free interviews. They pay billions of dollars for consultants. Okay, not billions, but millions of dollars for consultants. And now they're getting free consultation by interviewing all these people on what's happening in the league. One of the things Dan and I said is that they better not send us our season ticket invoice until they actually have an offensive coordinator. Well, guess what? They got an offensive coordinator, and I'm pretty sure they're sending out those next week.
I'm sure, and whatever we're about to pay is too much.
Yeah. Oh, there's some more reckless speculation. They're increasing all season ticket holders' cost. Your 3% now went up to 10%, so we can build this dome-like stadium and find us a new. No, God.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm sure that's going to come. If they're going to announce a new stadium, the prices are going to go so high. But good God.
Well, the good news is, you're locked in for your contract, so we'll just see how that goes in the speculation.
My contract's up in 2 years.
Oh, well, there you go. So when they start, they'll start talking to you about it shortly and bringing it in. And first of all, it would be nice to have more Eagles fans in the stadium. All right, everybody, I got to wrap things up. We've actually been talking about this, and it's one of those things that you're just not sure about the current OC that they hired, and then their backup OC that they hired, and we're going to call him Bach, backup OC. Yeah, well, we'll just figure out some cool shit to call Josh Gizzard, however you want to call his name. One of the things that we also wanted to talk about, and we did on this show, is all the speculation that happened, this press conference. As soon as the press conference happened, I think Dan and I are going to jump on and, kind of throw in some information on how we felt from it. Dan, before we close it out, I'm going to give you the floor. This is awesome. I could feel the passion.
The anger is swelling. I mean, I understand, we're going to show we have to exercise patience with it. He is a new guy. He's going to be new to everything. Can it be worse than Kevin Patullo? Hopefully not.
Time will tell.
I don't think it will be, but it is disheartening. We wanted something with more, not splash, but we wanted something more comfortable, something we could actually point our finger to and say, this is giving us a good feeling going into the offseason. And there just isn't that, unfortunately. And there's going to be a lot more questions than there are answers, even with this press conference. But we have somebody in place. The only thing I can hope for, and we can hope for at this point, is Sirianni just backs off and lets him run. Because if the ship is going to sink, we need to let it sink with new ideas. Because we know it's going to sink with the old ideas, so we might as well see if it's going to take on water with new ideas too. So,
awesome analogy, Dan.
Yeah. Well, grab a life vest because it may go down quick.
Grab a life vest and a big ass bottle of something to drink because it's going to be an interesting off season. Mm-hmm. My take here on the recent hires, OC2, yeah, something like that, is that I want to say time will tell, but I'll tell you what, the press conference like we came and talked about, it better be a wow factor to put us back on because everybody's questioning these hires that happen. Everybody, this has been the Philly Fan Radio. I'm John Myer along with Dan Palmieri. And Dan, give me some excitement.
Woo! Go Birds and go Pro Bowl flag football. Woo.
Oh, wait a second. Before I wrap it up, okay, first of all, let's make a comment about this Pro Bowl. First of all, Dan, are you even excited about the Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl? No.
The Puppy Bowl's on.
I'm going to watch the Puppy Bowl, but no.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Seattle. I do. I think Seattle's going to win. I like their defense and everything, but these, not just because the Eagles lost, but this entire playoffs has been really underwhelming, to be honest with you. I've seen some of the shittiest quarterback play I've ever seen during this playoffs. Seriously.
Yep, exactly. So Dan and I, the next time we record, which hopefully will be next week, we'll be talking about the Super Bowl, the shitty-ass halftime that they selected, and what's happening. And we got plenty of time to talk about that. In fact, it's happening in a week and a half, so don't worry. Stay tuned to that. Go Birds!
Go Birds. Go off season.